y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. Got a story that I want to bring to you from our representative community, Raccoons, also known as the NAACP. They are warning Congress about the debt ceiling and how it is going to harm Black communities. So, they won't fight for us to get reparations, but they will fight for us to continue to get federal aid and handouts. So, depending on how you look at this story, if you look at the short term need, you may say, oh, well, yeah, that's important. But if you look at the big picture of how long we have been seeking reparations and this grassroots movement that has been happening since 2016, where Black people have basically, at the grassroots level, decided they're either going to withhold their vote or demand reparations, even from the state levels. And if not, they're not going to vote. And so that has been working fairly well over, since 2016, 2017. The Democratic Party's vote has dwindled significantly. And I'm not sure if the Republican votes have increased among the African American community. I hope not, but I'm sure some people are just like, I'm going to vote for the other side just for revenge. But it's like voting for the devil or voting for the witch. Neither one of them going to help you. Both of them going to harm you and cast a spell on you. So it doesn't really matter. But anywho, the NAACP is petitioning in writing, not even in person, that the federal government comes up with some type of plan to avoid this default in order to continue getting federal aid programs for our communities, because they also benefit from these programs too. So, and they're getting paid to say this because, again, they have to compel Black people to be emotional about getting something taken away from the government, some handout that's barely helping us anyway, when they could join in with the reparations movement and get far more that would allow us to be self-sufficient for at least once in our lifetimes in this dreaded nation. But of course, they ain't gonna do that because they couldn't dare imagine giving us any cash payments. So federal programs, entitlement programs, it is, and this is what the head of the NAACP is petitioning. So I'm going to read this to you, but I'm also going to show you something. Why I call him a raccoon and why I know, it's just a show. So this says, in an open letter to Congress, NAACP President Derrick Johnson urged debt ceiling negotiators to reject spending caps and work requirements in federal aid programs. This article came out on May 17th, and this is on NBC News. The NAACP's president is warning Congress that any resolution to the debt ceiling impasse that caps spending on federal aid programs would disproportionately harm Black communities, and that talk of expanding work requirements must be resoundingly rejected, according to a letter obtained by NBC News. So to me, this is my 2 cents. Take the meat, spit out the bones. I see this as BS because studies have already proven that white people will be harmed more if any federal aid programs are cut because they benefit the most. They get more food stamps. Now, I don't know if their kids go to Head Start more than our kids, but there are a lot of federal entitlement programs that they benefit from. Pell Grants, they go to school, they get that money to go to school just like our kids do. More of their kids go to school than our kids do, especially at the community college level. So, I I just feel a way about these stories because I understand they do this to play on the heartstrings of Black people, but the data does not demonstrate that we would disproportionately be harmed more. Now, will we be harmed? Yes, because our group is one of the poorest groups in the country collectively. But other groups, more portions of other groups, in particular the PC people, they benefit more from these programs, especially in the South. So, to act like we're going to be the only ones harmed if these programs get cut is disrespectful. But it's also a ploy. It's getting ready to be political season, and they're kicking off the campaigns with the same old nonsense that they always do. So, I just want to talk about it so that Black people will not will know what the game plan is. The game plan is always to talk about how poor we are, talk about us being dependent, codependent on the federal government for entitlement programs. But I want to implore you to look and see how many groups at the grassroots level are requesting cash payment reparations and not any of these federal entitlement programs that we wouldn't have to worry about, regardless of what happened with the budget, because the government will have paid us in cash in full. So we wouldn't have to worry about any monthly benefits or budget cuts or, loan defaults, so on and so forth. So anyway, these proposals play on racist stereotypes masquerading as sound policy, Derek Johnson, the head of civil rights organization, wrote in an open letter to Congress sent Wednesday. Dude didn't even have the decency to take his behind to the White House and request a special meeting. And you know why? Because he know the policy is benign neglect for Black people. They ain't doing nothing for us. Papa already told him he wasn't doing nothing for us. I'm going to show you. Hold on. In the letter, he laid out his concerns following reports that legislators involved in debt limit negotiations are weighing proposals that would cap federal discretionary spending on programs such as Medicaid, Pell Grants, and SNAP program, which is food stamps. So food stamps, Pell Grants, and Medicaid, that's going to disproportionately harm Black people. You know, they don't care at the end of the day because they have given out stimulus checks to these very people who qualify for these benefits. And their rationale is going to be, well, we gave them 2 years worth of payments. We gave them money, extra food stamps. We gave them stimulus checks, a couple rounds. Some of them even stole PPP loan money. So we don't care what they do now. They should have took that money and put it back. That's going to be the attitude of these people who are doing the negotiations. Now, Black people, they're going to be out of luck because they didn't use their resources well. But anywho, Johnson wrote that he was especially appalled by the programs that would toughen work requirements for federal aid programs, something Republicans are pushing for in the talks, which has drawn ire from Democrats. So, Democrats always want to pretend like, oh, we are poor, retarded, excuse me. I know people don't like to use that word, but poor special needs pets who need special accommodations. And then the Republicans like to use it because they know it drums up the racist in their party who always think we get more welfare and handouts than anybody when they are the kings and queens of handouts since before we got here. So, it's just a trope. But again, they like to play these things when it's time for national elections to, create the divide, tell the lie with no data to substantiate any of this. And I guess I'll have to do a breakdown of how many people get SNAP benefits and by ethnicity. Same with Pell Grants. Same with Medicaid, because what you're going to find is, some instances we overrepresent, but in a lot of instances we don't, because we're not the majority of people in this nation, and the majority of people who benefit from these programs are not us because we're not the majority. So it's just a bunch of BS. Johnson called on members of Congress to meet the moment. To our many allies and partners, we ain't got no allies. See, this how you know it's already BS. In Congress, who have claimed to support black livers. We are grateful for your past support and need you to know this is a moment of choosing, he wrote. Do not accept the false choice between triggering an utterly avoidable economic catastrophe driven by politicians or imposing costs and new harms on Black communities, he added. But he could ask for reparations, but he won't do that. Now, he'll send a letter and ask for entitlements. Don't even have the decency to go because he ain't welcome, because he understands that they ain't doing nothing for Black people. We need deeper federal investments, no cuts, not cuts, to ensure all Americans can thrive. So how we go from talking about Black Americans to all Americans? All Americans is apparently doing fine. Oh, they were. This went from Black people to all people. See how they do? The nation, especially Black America, is watching, he wrote in closing. I ain't watching because I already know they ain't gonna do nothing for us. I hope y'all ain't watching either. The letter was sent Wednesday morning to the White House, as well as the leadership staff in the White House and the Senate and other key congressional players in the negotiations. President Joe Biden has publicly opened the door to some concessions on federal spending, but he has promised to not consider cuts that could push working people into poverty. In a tweet Monday afternoon, he appeared to rule out changes to SNAP. The House Republican wish list would put 1 million older adults at risk of losing their food assistance and going hungry. Rather than push Americans into poverty, we should reduce the deficit by making sure the wealthy and large corporations pay their fair share in taxes. Now, recall, they never repeal any of the tax cuts they ever give. Ever. Never. They never repealed them. The one that 45 didn't repeal it. The biggest, transfer of wealth in American history. Don't hear nobody talking about it. If they would repeal that, everything would be cool. But they don't repeal nothing. They just take from the poor and keep on giving to the rich. So it's just all a Ponzi scheme at the end of the day. And they love to use Black people. They love to use us. They love to get us emotional. They love to get our hopes up high. They love to use us as a political football. And then they have these raccoons in these organizations strategically placed to get us all riled up so that we will petition people, let them know we care, and help them don't cut off our welfare benefits. Just it's a bunch of BS. On Wednesday, Biden said he would not accept any work requirements that is going to impact on the medical health needs of people, adding he wouldn't agree to go much beyond the work requirements that already exist and which he voted for. So they just go to tell you there's some old stuff they trying to conjure up. But it's possible there could be a few others, but not anything of consequence, he added. Oh, y'all better look out. The policies House Republicans are proposing would take away Americans' health care and increase poverty, White House spokesman Michael Kikukawa said in a statement this week. Republicans couldn't pass them into law when they had unified control of government, and the president is fighting to ensure they will not be in a bipartisan budget agreement. The House Republicans' bill would require states to impose work requirements for some people on Medicaid, the health insurance program for low-income people that was established under then President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965 and expanded by the Affordable Health Care Act, or Obamacare. The bill would also require able-bodied adults up to age 55 to work a minimum of 20 hours per week or fulfill other criteria to receive SNAP benefits for more than 3 months every 3 years. Right now, a malicious group of legislators are attempting to hold America hostage as they fight to cut key programs that act as a lifeline to millions of Americans, particularly Black Americans, Johnson told NBC News. So they love to be dragging us. Nothing make me sicker than a raccoon. So anywho, let me blow this up for y'all so y'all can see. Now this is this man down here that was just writing this letter to Congress. This was the disrespectful phone call to civil rights leader that Pawpaw gave, I want to say in December of 2020, right before he took office. And he basically told him he wasn't doing nothing for us. So I'm going to play a little bit of it for y'all so y'all can see how Dusty talked to us. He don't care nothing about us.
But we're moving forward. And we want to move forward together. And we want to maybe not always agree, but be able to walk out with a common agenda that all of us can live with and make life better for everybody. So I thank you for this meeting. I thank all my colleagues that joined in asking for this meeting. And I'm sorry if I was a little more candid, but you would have thought I was a clone if I didn't do Al Sharpton.
Mark, let me update you where we are in time. We probably have a couple of minutes. I really wanted to...
Let's go to the president and the president, vice president.
I want to go to the president-elect, but I know Derek told me he had one thing that he wanted to get out. Derek, if you can do that quickly, we can go to the president and vice president-elect to close us out.
Okay, so this man that's getting ready to talk is the man that wrote this letter. Now, he going to talk, and then Pawpaw going to give him the work. So, listen up.
Derek, you muted.
You're muted, Derek. I'm there. President, you've mentioned more than once how Black folks saved you in your racism in Senate in Delaware. You've talked about your friendship with Mouse. We are now saying the Black community has stood up in this election cycle. Let's not suffocate the Black vote in Georgia and make sure we send the right message, because the success of this administration will be the ability of the Senate to confirm your nominee. We have an opportunity here. We want to make sure we seize upon this opportunity and allow for the input necessary. 10 more appointments to go. A lot of people in our community are getting a little anxious because they are not seeing enough of the progress they thought they would have seen at this point. Let's not disappoint them, and let's not get to a place where voters in Georgia begin to second guess.
Okay, let me respond. I gotta go. Let me respond. There's a lot to respond here. Let's get something straight. You shouldn't be disappointed. What I've done so far is more than anybody else has done this far. Okay?
Y'all heard what he said. He said you shouldn't be upset. Disrespectful.
Okay, number one. Number two, I mean what I say when I say it. I mean what I say when I say it. I'm the only person who's ever run on 3 platforms that I was told could not possibly win the election, and I never ceased from it. One was on restoring the soul of this country because of what I saw happen in Charlottesville. That was it. No one else was talking about it. The words of presidents matter. Nobody else, no progressive, was talking about it. I did. My son Bo used to have an expression. He said, remember, Dad, home base. It ain't worth the job if I can't say what I believe. I didn't want to run this time. I ran this time because of the racist son of a gun who was president of the United States of America. That's why I ran. And you remember, a lot of you told me talking about the soul of America was going over people's heads. They didn't know what we're talking about. The words of a president matter. What a president says matters. And you've never seen me shy away. In the middle of the debate, I called him a racist. In the middle of the debate with him, I took on white supremacists. I'm the guy that took on every single time somebody was threatened in this country. The only white boy you know who did it, period, out there, every single time. So look, all I'm saying here is, guys and ladies, we're on the same exact page, the same exact page. We talked about closing the racial wealth gap.
Lies, just lies.
That's the single biggest thing I want to get done. It's the ultimate equalizer. no matter what else happens. Because I plan on spending over $15 billion to provide for opportunity for young black entrepreneurs to get them off the ground, black farmers to be able to own their own property, young people being able to get their first $15,000 down payment on a home, making sure that they have an opportunity to gain wealth. We can do all the rest of this unless the black community is able to make up the wealth gap, in my humble opinion, is real trouble. I support same-day registration.
Okay, y'all heard all this bull. And he did not answer the man question. He telling you what he want to tell you. But anywho, his Lift Every Voice plan, whatever the name of it was, he didn't do nothing. But you know what he did do? He gave black people internet, free internet, low-cost internet, free cell phones, free computers, free tablets, so you can be further institutionalized. Y'all really need to listen to this whole video, because this is the video where he tells the civil rights leader that we need to work with Hispanics and so on and so forth. So he's done exactly what he said he was going to do for us, which was nothing. And now this man is sending a letter to Congress begging for entitlement programs.
I'm the guy that extended the Voting Rights Act for 25 years.
When he knew they wasn't going to do nothing for us. And he's talking about extending the Voter Rights Act. Why they got to keep giving us extensions? Are we citizens or are we not? Why do they have to keep approving the vote for black people? So, everything he says basically is nothing. It just shows that we're not citizens. They neglect us, and we have these token people who get paid to not represent us. So at the end of the day, I just wanted to bring this story to you so you could see that we don't have no friends. We don't have nothing but raccoons representing us. Y'all see how Papa talked to us before he even got in the office. Now black people helped him win, but you see how he handled the black people after he got in the office. This is white supremacy in action, and we need to remember this. It's a disgrace, and it's a shame that black people continue to support the Democratic Party when they are talked about like this, when they are talked to like this, and they act like they don't have no other choice. I just don't understand it. But what I want to say is, pay attention to what's happening. Pay attention to how we are just tossed out there, talked about, but nobody ever does anything for us, and not anything like they do for other ethnic groups collectively. Black people better wake up, and black people better start sticking together and speaking up, because these people are about to run over us. And these little entitlement programs that he's crying about are not going to benefit us much at all. And they're not going to do nothing about this. They're going to get rid of these entitlement programs. So you just got to understand it is what it is. But anywho, my battery is about to die. So please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to my Rumble and Odyssey channels in the event that this channel goes down. And I will include a link to this story and this video in the description so that you can watch it in its entirety. It's very interesting, but it also shows how America continuously neglects African Americans, and it does not matter who is president, Democrat or Republican. They all play on the same team when it comes to being anti-black. They hate us. They have a perpetual hatred for the African American Negro. All right, this is Marley K, and I'm out.